Lately, I've seen a lot of comments based on learning how to live. And that's kind of like a crazy thing to touch on because, sometimes you kind of feel like you're just existing and not living. You get into this cycle, right? So, how do we escape or, get ourselves out of those cycles? Those cycles where, we're stuck doing things that we don't want to do, or stuck, not feeling alive, not feeling like ourselves. And I feel like that's something we overlook too much. So it's like, okay, let's start here. Why do we feel miserable? Right? Are we making ourselves miserable? Or are we in somewhere that's making us miserable? Right? So we have to find the cause. Because sometimes, let's be honest, it's ourselves. Sometimes our lives could be perfectly fine, or everything could be going right, yet we're the reasons that we're still not feeling the way we really should be, right? I'll use the example always as, construction workers. So like you'll see these, Mexican construction workers and you'd be like, these guys are happy as hell working 12-hour days, not seeing their families till the weekend, and just drinking beers throughout the week. How are they so happy? Well, they enjoy what they do by making it enjoyable for themselves. I don't think that everybody loves what they do, right? Some people just make do with what they got and make it an enjoyable environment. So the key to this is creating your own positivity, right? Because even in the shittiest of environments, there can be positive situations, and that fact or that thing is in your hands. So it's up to you to make the best out of every situation you're in, right? So then how does that bring us back to starting to live or feeling alive, I guess? Feeling alive is very subjective to each person, right? But we all know the feeling, and we all know the opposite feeling. The opposite feeling is almost like dreading every day, but in a sense it's basically just feeling like a robot, where like every day is the same thing over and over again, to the point where it's like, am I really here? Is this me? And sometimes we feel like we're spectating somebody living our lives and it's not us. Like it feels like we're in the back seat of our own life, so when we feel like this, it's like I said, there's two things. We either are in an environment we have to get out of, or there's something in here that we have to fix. And it's usually in here, in the heart. When we stray away from the things that we like to do, right? When we kind of just stick to work, or we stick to, school and learning something that we don't really feel passionate about or care about, things like that happen. So the biggest key element is to be there for yourself. I know sometimes we prioritize others, and being the kind, helping person that you probably are, that you've been, that's probably your go-to. But you have to be kind and gentle to yourself as well. So what that means is the same patience you have on others, have it for yourself. This happens to me all the time, where I'll feel angry when I'm not really angry. It's just kind of like me losing my patience. So don't make yourself angry, because one, it's probably not that serious, and you're probably not actually angry, just kind of like lashing out for the sake of lashing out, from a very quick, in the moment, feeling. You probably don't even really feel that way. So sometimes it's like step back and ask yourself, like, do I really feel this way about this? Am I really this mad about this? And the second thing would be, take a step back and readjust. It's like the fifth time I've repeated this, but readjust. What does that mean? Go on a walk, right? Pick up a book. Do something that makes you feel like you, or do one of the things that, are known to help reset, like walks, like just finding a cool place to sit, being around the people that you care about, and create for yourself. The more you get away from yourself, the more miserable you're going to feel. So understand the limit to how much you can really take. And I know sometimes it feels like this work ethic is amazing, right? Or like we'll see monetary gain and we'll think, oh, this is great, my life is going in the right direction, but you yourself mentally are falling apart. This is where we have to differentiate things, right? Because if your mental is in the right place, you're morally aligned, and your values are, where they should be. When everything is aligned, life kind of goes, right? And when you're aligned with your heart and mind, any obstacle or distraction isn't a complete disaster. You kind of make your way through it because you can put your heart into it, and your brain knows, okay, this is a rough patch, but we're still gonna get through it. And you gotta understand that relationships, friendships, work, anything you do, you're gonna have setbacks. You're gonna feel stuck sometimes. You're gonna feel all over the place sometimes. And I'll give you this example with relationships. It's up to you and your partner to both put the same effort to get through that. It's important that your partner is an understanding that you each have to do your part for this to really work. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, okay, we're in a rough patch right now, but how can I make this work? Right? And that's when you keep going. You make this work. All right? And that's a thing that goes both ways. So don't think that just because you're trying to make it work, that your partner is also just trying to make it work. All right? Hopefully, God willing, they are trying to make it work. But that's also a key take to when things might just have, finish their purpose in your life. Sometimes you have to be realistic in that sense. If the other person is not willing to make their effort to make something work, then but you yourself also have to be willing to make things work when you're in a rough patch. So when you're stuck, right, when you feel stuck, do not get upset. It's kind of like the intro to Little Big Planet, right, where they're going over the game mechanics, and I forgot the name of the character, but the character falls and gets stuck, and the narrator goes, don't get upset, you can just press the settings and try again. So that's exactly how you should look at things. When you're stuck, don't feel upset, right? Well, no, it's normal to feel upset, so feel upset, but have it in understanding that you have to try again. So take a step back, think about what you did, make the necessary adjustments, and try again. There's nothing wrong with failing. And your hard work might not be guaranteed success, but effort is something you always have to take away from, right? So let's say you tried in this avenue, you learned this, now you found this other avenue, you go and try that with the experience you gained from this. So your effort will always be beneficial to you in some way. So don't stop the effort just because things might not be going your way right away. Find a way to readjust and try again. So and like, once again, looking beyond work, find a way to make that readjustment an enjoyable one for you, right? Make your situation enjoyable in some way. You don't need $1 million to have a smile on your face, right? You have to appreciate what you got now. And in that appreciation and that gratitude, we slowly climb up the ladder even more. All right, you gotta remember, this is a baby step thing. It's a step-by-step thing. And the more that you try, the more steps you'll take forward, right? It's a very slow climb, but it's completely worth it. In the end, it's completely worth it. So 2 more things I want to leave you off with, right? And one, it's for those people that are, people, if that makes sense. So the people that are always there for others, that are always giving an open ear to others, but sometimes feel like, they'll listen to other people's problems and give their own advice, but they won't speak about their own problems, right? I fit into that category. Be open, just the way that you open your ears, people are gonna open their ears to you. So don't think that you're crazy, right? Feel out all your feelings and damn, and understand that you can be open to people the same way that they're open with you, right? There's nothing wrong with an explanation, with venting, with feeling out the things that you feel. Don't down yourself just because you're an emotional person, right? The fact that you're an emotional person means that you're a loving person, right? Because all of these emotions, at the end of the day, they surround your heart, right? And what's our signal of love? The heart. So just because you're an emotional person doesn't mean it's a weakness. It's actually a great strength, right? Because at the end of the day, we all actually want to be loving. We all want to be gentle. We all want to be caring. We want to be seen that way. So you already being this person that loves a lot, that's very emotional, that feels a lot, right? It just talks highly about your character, right? So don't down yourself for being emotional. It's actually a good thing. And another thing is, it is in your hands to feel alive. And my biggest recommendation is that you really take a step back and take some time to get to know yourself. When you're feeling stuck, when you're feeling upset, when you're constantly going through a mix of emotions that you don't understand, it's because you have to dig deeper into yourself, right? So sometimes I have to look at myself and be like, okay, is this really Martin, or is this just a feeling I'm getting because of the environment I'm in, or because of the way that life has been, right? Is this really me? So I like to take long walks, or I'll just go to the gym and find a way to think about that while not drowning in the thought. I kind of like see how I react to things and take note of that myself, and allow myself to feel out whatever it is that I'm doubting or that I'm really feeling. Feel the feels. You get it? So yeah, get to know yourself better. Sometimes, even for the people that are like people, take a step back and get to know yourself when you're struggling, because the struggle might just come right back. You might get over this feeling and then it comes back and you're like, what the hell do I do? So take the time to really get to know yourself. It'll help you out a lot. And don't fall into the negative. It's in your hands to make whatever situation you're in a positive one. Right? So I really hope that you understand how big that is. And to wrap things up here, we'll go off with a verse. So Matthew chapter 5 verse 8 is one of my favorite verses. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. So if everything in your heart aligns, then it will work out in your favor, because Jesus taught us that we are a reflection of our hearts. So if our hearts are in the right place, then everything else will work itself, right? But this is the core. This is the thing that keeps us alive. So with this being aligned with, the proper values, the proper morals, and most of all, the heart and the mind, like I was talking about earlier, that connection is huge. When, your passion, when the reflection of you is aligned with your smart, your knowledge, then the good will come, right? That is when you're ready to accept the good, when that is aligned.